Now, climate activists have spray painted a super yacht they've also blocked private jets from taking off and of course plugged holes in golf courses this summer as part of an intensifying campaign against the emission-spewing lifestyles of the ultra-wealthy. And our next report gets you more on the activist protests against luxury. Take a look. Climate activism has intensified in the past few years as the planet warms to dangerous levels, igniting more extreme heat, floods, storms and wildfires around the world. Tactics have been getting more radical, with some protesters gluing themselves to roads, disrupting high-profile sport events like golf and tennis, and even splashing famous pieces of artwork with paint or soup. And now they're turning their attention to the wealthy after long targeting some of the world's most profitable companies that continue to invest in fossil fuels. This summer, Spanish climate activist group Futuro Vegetal or Vegetable Future spray painted a $300 million super yacht belonging to Walmart heir Nancy Walton Lowry on the Spanish island of Ibiza. Protesters held up a sign that read, "You consume, others suffer."
I think we need a change of attitude, not just in the rich, but also in general society and in the politics. There has to be change in legislation. We can't just expect the rich to change, because they won't change unless they get pressure from below and from above. When the lifestyle is seen as no longer acceptable, then they will change.
In Switzerland, some 100 activists disrupted Europe's biggest private jet sales fair in Geneva. This as they chained themselves to aircraft gangways and exhibition entrance. Further, in the United States, Abigail Disney, the grandniece of Walt Disney, was arrested at New York's East Hampton Town Airport in July, along with 13 other protesters for blocking cars from entering or exiting the parking lot. It was the first of up to 8 actions carried out in the super luxury Hamptons neighborhood. Activists also crashed a golf course, disrupted a museum gala and demonstrated outside some private luxury homes.
These specific luxury practices are disproportionately contributing to the climate crisis at this point if you map out carbon emissions. And as a result, it makes a lot of sense for these activists to be calling out these types of behaviors. So I think it is not anecdotal at all, but rather kind of a small bit of the movement that is going to probably be getting a lot more attention in the coming years.
Richard Wilk, an economic anthropologist at Indiana University, said luxury travel is the real culprit in the emissions of the ultra-wealthy. He published estimates of the top billionaires' annual emissions in 2021 and found that private jets and super yachts release even more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere than their palatial homes. According to his estimates, a super yacht with permanent crew, helicopter pads, submarines and pools emit about 7,020 tons of carbon dioxide a year, over 1,500 times higher than a typical family car. And private aircraft in Europe alone last year caused more than 3 million tons of CO2 emissions, equivalent to the average annual CO2 emissions of over 500,000 EU residents. But as the protests escalate, experts say they could still move the needle towards behavioral change, and in some cases, governments have stepped in with regulations. For example, France is cracking down on the use of private jets for short journeys. The Netherlands airport also announced plans to ban private jets earlier this year. However, it still remains to be seen if the countries around the world will be able to curb the ongoing climate crisis and reduce emissions to battle rising temperatures. Bureau Report WION, World is One. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.